rolling tumors to roaring lampooners, the Tigers on a Roll show starts in 3, 2, 1.
What is up, Auburn family, and welcome back to the Tigers on a Roll show. We are staring down the barrel of a must-win game in Fayetteville this weekend, but that's not even the biggest story in college football right now. We've got to talk about the white hat who's been shown the door by Birmingham. And of course, we have to talk about the temperature of Hugh Freeze's seat, which is getting hotter than an early season game in Jordan-Hare. It's Thursday, October 23rd, 2025, and let's get rolling. The big news that broke yesterday, and let's be honest, it's about time, SEC referee Ken Williamson has reportedly been permanently suspended from officiating conference games. And the Auburn family says, good riddance. This all stems from the debacle of a game against Georgia earlier in October, and certainly has some holdovers from Oklahoma. But according to reports, the SEC reviewed 11 different complaints from the Georgia game and validated 9 of them. We're not sure yet what sequences those complaints were tied to, but the 2 most egregious I can think of were probably the Jackson Arnold fumble at the goal line right before the half, and where it looked like the world saw that he broke the plane for a touchdown, but it was ruled a fumble, upheld on review, and Georgia gets the ball and drives for a field goal. Also, they even had a touchdown of their own disallowed after the supposed fumble recovery. And then the second one most likely is the most baffling. The fourth quarter, Kirby Smart was on the sideline, clearly signaling with his hands for a T for timeout, yelling the words time. As seen on the Jumbotron and postgame footage, the official blows the whistle as the play clock runs down, stops the game, and then Kirby somehow convinces Williamson and his crew he was just clapping. They bought it, reset the play clock, and did not charge Georgia a timeout or give them a delay of game penalty. And I've seen a lot of discourse from both fan bases on the timeout point. And they're saying, it didn't really affect the game, but, it didn't have to benefit Georgia, to Auburn's detriment. Neither a penalty or a timeout was charged. Penalty given, timeout charged. The severe miscarrying of football justice by Ken and his crew there is just unacceptable, and that is how we got to where we are. Hearing the news of him being indefinitely suspended, relieved of his duties even, all of that is just salt in the wound after the SEC schedule that we've already been through and the public apology that the SEC officiating office had to issue after the unfair tactics play on the fake substitution where Oklahoma scored on Auburn's, in Auburn's very first road game. And, now you see guys like the former NFL ref who has been all over Twitter this week, Terry McCauley, on Twitter saying that relieving him of his duties is quote unquote insane. But for Auburn fans, this isn't about, one game or full firings of Ken Williamson. It's about a pattern. And finally, there seemed to be some sort of accountability in Birmingham. And it won't change the outcome of the Georgia game or the Oklahoma game, but it's a small victory in a season that has felt stacked against Auburn. Which brings us to our next segment. Can Hugh hurdle the mounting challenges, or are his buns burning? But first, here is a word from our very first sponsor. Brahma Marketing is your one-stop shop for everything from signs and apparel to high-impact vehicle wraps. As a certified 3M graphics company, they guarantee quality and durability. Promotional products, custom embroidery, commercial fleet branding, Brahma can do it all. They've partnered with Graystar Real Estate, Prisma Health, HD Supply, and more. Stop blending in and start standing out. Visit BrahmaMarketing.com to get started on your next project. And we are back to Hugh's Burning Buns. But man, this has been a tough stretch. There's no doubt about that. And we certainly all came into this season with so much hope. Started 3-0, and now we're sitting here at 3-4, 0-4 in the SEC riding the 4-game losing streak. The schedule has certainly been brutal. Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia, Missouri, all ranked teams right now. And I've said it before, and we've all been hearing it for a month or so from Hugh. We lost those 4 games by an average of just 1 score. Last week's heartbreaking 23-17 double overtime loss to Mizzou was just a gut punch after getting slapped in the face the last few SEC games. But, really that's the problem. We're losing. We're 14-18 under Hugh Freeze overall, 5-15 in the SEC. The offense is his specialty and is ranked 95th in the country in scoring. The "we're so close" narrative is certainly wearing thin. Freeze himself said in his press conference this week that a public vote of confidence from the AD and the athletic department would be huge, and that's not something a coach on solid ground would be saying. The fan base is restless as all get out. The message boards are on fire. This weekend's game at Arkansas isn't just a must-win to get closer to a bowl game. It's a must-win for the future of the coaching staff. And if we can't beat a 2-5 Arkansas team, what are we doing? And the seat isn't just warm, folks. It's scorching hot for Hugh. But let's talk about that game. The Desperation Bowl, as we can all call it. The get-right game, potentially, for Auburn's program. Whatever you want to call it. Auburn heads over to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. 11:45 a.m. Central kick on SEC Network. And get this. Arkansas's favorited, 1-point favorite. A 2-5 team with an interim head coach in Bobby Petrino, of all people, is favored over Auburn. And that tells you exactly what Vegas thinks of our offense right now. And, the matchup is fascinating. Weather's going to be terrible leading up to the game Friday and Saturday morning. It'll be strength on strength and weakness on weakness, battling it out depending on, who has the ball at any given moment. Arkansas is a terrible defense. They're giving up 33 points a game, ranked 120th in the nation. Their run defense is 121st, but they have an elite offense, 17th in the country, scoring 37 points a game. Auburn is the exact opposite. Elite defense, under 18 points a game, good for 23rd in the nation, but we have a terrible offense, scoring 23 points in a game on average. And that doesn't even take into account the SEC games we played where we're barely putting up 10 points. We're barely breaking double-digit points in basically all of the SEC matchups we've had. If we hadn't lined up cupcakes and played a Big 12 team, a middling Big 12 team now at that, I don't know what our statistics would look like, but they would certainly be way worse than they are now. And, what wins out? Our elite defense or their elite offense? That's the strength on strength matchup. Certainly not going to be a difference maker, the struggling offense, struggling defense matchup. I mean, anyone that has just their best day of the season on that weak side of the ball they're gonna come out on top of this game. I mean, it'll be over under 56.5 is what it opened at, which tells me, Vegas is expecting points. And depending on how the weather turns out at kickoff, that'll definitely be a factor in how high flying this game can get for Arkansas. And in the meantime, we're watching Auburn put up way too many 1-touchdown games. And it's going to be very hard to trust them to keep up with Taylor Green and Petrino's offense unless they bring some secret sauce Saturday that they haven't had this season. But that secret sauce could be in some players to watch. So let's get to a segment on players to watch for this game. Arkansas, first player to watch is obvious. It's their quarterback, Taylor Green. The guy is like the number 1 total offensive player in the country. 6'6", do-it-all quarterback, thrown for 1,900 yards, 17 tutties, but he's also run for nearly 600 yards and 5 scores. I mean, he's the engine of their offense, and if our defense can't contain him, it's going to be a long, long day in Fayetteville. And the second Razorback to watch is Mike Washington Jr. And while Green gets the headlines, Washington is the thunder to that Taylor Green lightning. Averaging 7 yards a carry, 670 yards on the season, 5 touchdowns. Arkansas is the 14th best rushing attack in the nation. And he's a huge part of it. And we have got to figure out how to stop him and Green both on Saturday, or it could get ugly. And what I wish I would have put an Auburn defender on these players to watch, but like every single guy on that side of the ball is an absolute stud, and they know it. So I don't think that anyone needs to have their eye on them, because the individual players are balling and the unit itself is elite. Now, I have some confidence that they'll be able to take down Arkansas's offense a couple notches from where they've been the last couple weeks. But, you know, we got to touch base on some of the stuff that we're going to look for from these Auburn players. So for the Tigers, I've got my first player to watch is Jackson Arnold. The entire game and Hugh's career rests on his shoulders. No pressure for Jackson. And we all know that he's a gamer. And he leads the team right now with 7 rushing touchdowns. But that's because he hasn't thrown a passing touchdown since the beginning of the Oklahoma game. So Jackson Arnold's leading with 7 rushing touchdowns this season, and the passing game has been non-existent. And it has to be better on Saturday. He's only got 5 total touchdowns all year, and those came in the cupcakes. And, you know, there's a point in this game where you might even see Ashton Daniels getting some reps and potentially Deuce Knight, depending on how bad it gets. But, you know, I will give Jackson credit. Last weekend, he put his life on the line, it seemed, to try to make some plays, which, you know what, for the first time this season got us actually close to winning a game, and it went into double overtime. But he couldn't pull it off. And this is his chance to silence the critics. Attack a bad Arkansas secondary and win the game for Hugh's future, at least to the end of this season. And the second Tiger to watch is Jeremiah Cobb, starting running back. And if there was ever a game for Cobb to eat, this is it. He's been the hot hand since Baylor, averaging 6.3 yards a carry. He's coming off of a 100-yard performance against Missouri. Arkansas has one of the worst run defenses in the country. And I want to see Cobb get 20, maybe 25 carries this game, especially if the weather's bad. If it is pouring down rain, we better have a 2-headed rushing attack going up against a middling Arkansas defense who should be playing on Wednesday nights in Conference USA, and have them slipping all over the field and see if we can't get some traction. Control the clock to keep Taylon Green off the field. No question about that. But, you know, try to let the offensive line finally dominate someone, have the pieces come together with Cale Ellis in there at center. I am hoping. And then maybe you do in reality get this game as a coin flip. It's 2 desperate teams. Arkansas's offense is explosive. Ours is not. Their defense is a sieve, and ours is elite. And I want to bet on our strength, and I believe in the Auburn defense, no question. But, you know, I think they forced maybe 2 or 3 turnovers from Taylon Green, trying to do way too much. And you add in the inclement weather, and I'm hoping that Taylon Green is, you know, fumbling balls as he's pulling back to throw a deep ball, which they're probably going to get on us. But if Auburn's offense can get that traction on the ground with Jeremiah, you know, it won't be pretty. And it's going to be a 4-quarter fist fight, but you know, the games have been too long, and the mounting adversity throughout the 4 quarters of these games has been too much for the Tigers so far this year. And I'm not sure that we can get it done. We need to, but I'm not sure that we can. And my prediction this weekend is that ultimately Arkansas pulls away with this game after a close first half. And I've got Arkansas scoring 31 and Auburn scoring 17. I think at the beginning, Auburn's rushing attack can keep them in it for a while, but the defense will wear out in a physical game, giving Arkansas the room to find pay dirt, probably through the air late. And I think that our kicking woes continue if you throw in the wrench of inclement weather. I hope they don't, but you know, I see, unfortunately, Auburn dropping this one in Fayetteville, and then before the bus ride home, the wheels are falling off the program. And I'm not confident that Hugh Freeze. I don't think Hugh Freeze's key card is going to work to get in the facility when they ultimately arrive back in Auburn. But we will see. We will see. You know, I would love for the prediction that Auburn can win out. win out until you play Bama. I would love for that to come to fruition. I would love to see them get on a roll here towards the end of this season, the second half of this season. This is certainly a get right game for anybody that comes prepared to play offense for 4 quarters. But Auburn's proven that they haven't necessarily been able to do that the last few weeks. So this is a very scary game. And with how bad both programs are, it's not even a trap game anymore. You're duking it out right now to not finish dead last in the SEC, essentially. And fingers crossed that Auburn and Hugh and Jackson can figure something out. Hopefully the bad weather plays into Auburn's favor more than it does into Oklahoma's kind of like air raid offense. I'm not even sure what they play, but some sort of air. I'm sure they're airing it out. So you know what? If we can even the playing field with some inclement weather, tame that crowd that they're going to have at home, and take away some of the advantages that Vegas is probably tying into this game, I think that Auburn can keep it close. I am not going to predict them to win, and maybe some reverse psychology can come into play here. But I'm taking Arkansas to win this game, and other than in the first half, it's not necessarily close. But I hope I'm wrong, and we will see. But for this show, that's all the time we've got for today on the Tigers on the Roll show. Tigers on a roll, should get that right. Let's hope this week the Tigers finally turn that corner and they get on a roll. War Eagle.